Boxing aficionados, what's up? What's going on? Hey, yo, check this out. I'm sincerely beginning to doubt Devin Haney's seriousness about the biggest fight of his life against George Kambosos. I'm beginning to really doubt that he thinks he can really win this fight, or his dedication to winning this fight. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it seems like he's dismissing George Kambosos as an opponent. I think in his mind there might be this this feeling of overconfidence, as if George Kambosos is an afterthought. The first inkling I've got about this was Devin Haney getting into an altercation, a social media altercation with Charlo, going back and forth with Charlo, worried about what Charlo's doing or whatever it was. I don't know the details of it. I think it was something to the effect of, if somebody really wants to fight, they get the fight to do whatever. Point is that all I heard, or really all I got from that situation was, or rather the thoughts that I got from that situation, the only thoughts that I got from that situation was like, my man, like, why are you worried about Charlo? And what Jamal Charlo, I believe it was Jamal Charlo. I can't, I doubt it was Jermell Charlo that he was being critical of. But I was like, why are you worried about Charlo? You've got business to handle in Australia. At that point, it was in 7 weeks, right? And then, when a fighter is really, really focused about handling their business, I've noticed that those fighters that are really, really focused about handling their business, they don't talk about anything other. They don't talk. First of all, they hardly talk. They do an interview when they have to, and if they do the interview, it's they play their cards close to the vest. But when they talk about a subject, they talk about themselves or the fight at hand, or their how they envision the fight going, things along that nature. It's like they're focused on the next task. Never have I heard an elite fighter talk about some other person's business outside of their own when they're in training for a fight. I've never seen that. I was quite frankly, I was shocked. I was speechless, man. I was like, why is this guy talking about Charlo? You're not in the same weight class. You're not on the same network. There's no prospect of you dealing with that guy or meeting up with him. He's not in your way. He's not in your way. You're not in his. Why would that even? If somebody asks you an opinion about somebody else, and you about your business, you go, well, I don't know about that. Next question, please. I don't know about that. Next question, please. Well, now Haney, That's a lot of energy that gets taken away from, preparing for the task at hand. Conversely, all George Kambosos does is talk about Devin Haney. He doesn't talk about. He mentioned Lomachenko in respect as why their fight didn't come through and how basically Devin Haney's taking that place, or how he chose Devin Haney now that he couldn't get the Lomachenko fight. That's about all he says about Lomachenko, and he respects him for the sacrifice he's doing for his country, and hopes to see him down the line. But it's all about Haney. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month for the next 8 weeks, the next 2 months. That's what it was about for George Kambosos. Devin Haney did the press conference, into the gym, focused on Haney, focused on enjoying his newfound fame, his newfound riches. He bought a gym or created a gym in his back, whatever he did. All focused on Devin Haney. That's all you hear about from George Kambosos. Flies in, what's his name? Xander Zayas, who's co-managed in the same stable. I think it's Peter Khan's stable, to spar with him in preparation for Devin Haney. That's it. And all the other fighters he's got there in preparation of Devin Haney. That's all. If you talk to George Kambosos today, he's going to talk to you about Devin. It's going to be about Devin Haney. All right? Devin Haney worried about Charlo. And now I see him at the Top Rank show getting interviewed. He's basking in the limelight. Devin Haney has never had this kind of attention. Devin Haney has never had this kind of attention. He's never had a network the size of ESPN focused on him. The Zone is a big company, but it's not a big audience. It's a big company, not a big audience, especially not in the United States. It's not. I mean, the numbers for Serrano and Taylor will let you know that. They needed the aid of 170 countries just to get to 1.5 million. Meanwhile, ESPN got 1.4 million viewers as an afterthought, just because it was attached to the NFL draft. That's neither here nor there. So Devin Haney has never been around that kind of attention, and he's basking in it, right? But when I saw him at the ESPN studios, or rather at the fight, all I said to myself was like, what's he doing there? What's he doing there if his fight is in Australia? It's a 20-hour flight to Australia from Las Vegas. From Las Vegas, it's 20 hours. Just about. What are you doing there? Why? And he was offered. Would you not take up the offer, or if you don't want to take the offer from Peter Khan, from Kambosos' manager, or DeBella, whoever it was that offered it, I believe it was Peter Khan's. If you don't want to take that offer of setting up a training camp in Australia, then invest in yourself and go to Australia and have your training camp in Australia. Now, you might think I'm crazy, but guess who? Guess who else was going to do that? All right? Egis Klimas, the manager of Lomachenko, who's been around the world fighting. Around the world. Over 400 amateur fights, 2 Olympic medals. Has to fly from the Ukraine to the United States just to train and go back for, has gone to London to fight, all over. That guy was going to set up shop in Australia to train. the 8 weeks in preparation for the Kambosos fight. Had he gotten the Kambosos fight, that was the plan, to train 8 weeks in Australia to get acclimated to the conditions of Australia. Right? Makes sense to me. It makes sense to anybody who's a well thought out human being, I believe. You know, for those of you who've watched The Wire, there's a scene where Michael, Snoop, and Michael, Snoop, and the other guy, what's his name? I forget the other guy. The guy that was the partner with Snoop, right? They get to the scene of somebody they're gonna shoot, right? They're gonna knock somebody off, whatever. A hit. This guy tells Michael, listen, I get here 2 hours early, so I don't want nobody setting up on me while I'm setting up on them. I get here 2 hours early. Now that's on another level. Now that's, it's preparation, right? You don't want to be surprised by anything. By anything. Lomachenko was going to do his training camp in Australia. The entire 8 weeks of his training camp in Australia. Right? The entire 2 months, right? In preparations. Why? So he can have his body conditioned to Australia. Doesn't want to be surprised by the temperature, by the climate, by the altitude, by, the water, by nothing. Leaves nothing up to chance. I'm going to train here because I'm going to fight here. And when the night of the fight, I'm going to feel as much at home as I possibly can. That's what you do when you're dedicated and you're focused on a task at hand. A task of that magnitude, man. That's Lomachenko. That's Lomachenko doing that. Grizzled veteran of many wars. And you're Devin Haney. You want to hang out Vegas, have Terrence Crawford at your gym, and be on an ESPN telecast and get into social media beefs with fighters that's not even your weight class. Bro, where does that fit, man? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Is the criticism valid? Is what I'm doing? Is that hate? I don't know. Maybe some people will call it hate. I call it an observation. If you're about your business, you got to be about your business and handle it and do everything. Everything that you do should be leading towards your stated goal. If it's not leading there, then, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Where's your focus? Where's your spirit? Where's your mental acuity? Anyway, I just wanted to say that, I don't know how serious Devin Haney is about the fight. I don't know. I really, really don't know. It is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. Next level boxing talk, baby. I'm out.